Hey guys, today's video is going to be about the recent trip we took to Florida. We went by plane, took Coco with us. So I'm going to go over the things that I packed for her. So essentially this will be a packing with your dog for a flight. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Okay, so Coco flew in cabin on Southwest. There are different policies for each airline carrier, so wherever you're thinking of flying out from, just check those different policies. Southwest seems to be the most lenient. So I'm going to go over the two main things I took with us. One is going to be the things that were in my personal item, and then one is going to be in the carry-on here, which went in cabin with us. Everything here is for Coco, and you'll see what we took. Alright, so these are the things I took with me on the plane in my backpack. So my personal item that I could put underneath the seat in front of me and get to really easily. So what you'll see here is the medication here is Xanax, and it was prescribed to her by her vet to keep her calm on the flight. Now Coco really did really well on this flight. She was perfect. She didn't make a sound. She went to sleep. I have footage of that. I'll link that video on the flight down below. So she did really well. She didn't even need the Xanax, but I'm glad I had it. The next thing we took are these treats, these little training treats. I kind of gave her a few when we were waiting at the gate, and gave her some while she was on the flight and while we were waiting for the rental car. I wouldn't recommend feeding your dog like a full meal before they get on the flight, but a couple of these every so hours didn't really hurt anything. Also, always remember your poop bags. The next thing we took were some quiet toys. They recommend doing something, bringing something for your pet to keep them occupied on the flight. So I didn't want to bring any Kongs or like pig ears or hoofs, because those can start to smell after a while. So I bought a few quiet toys. These are toys that don't have any squeakers in them. They're just soft toys. There's no squeakers. She can play with them quietly in the seat and keep herself entertained. I also brought this very small blanket. This is from the Target dollar spot, and I was thinking it was going to be cold on the flight. It really wasn't, so I didn't need it, but it was good to have just in case I needed to sprawl this out. It worked well in the rental. We used it kind of as a bed in the rental inside the crate there, so it was nice to have. So think about bringing like a small blanket or a small foldable crate mat, something your dog can lay on. We traveled with a health certificate, vaccine records, information for the flight, information for where we were going, emergency vets in Orlando. All of that went in here. They also recommend that you travel with a picture, a recent picture of your pet in case something happens and you need to make a loss poster. So all of that went in there. So I recommend definitely getting the directions for the pet relief areas, because if you're trying to make a flight and you have to cross back over security, you want to know exactly where you're going so you have enough time for it. Also, when checking in, they're going to ask, you know, what flight are you on? So you want to be able to have that information readily available. Now, Coco flew this time as the ESA, so I needed the prescription letter from my doctor, so that's in there. So that's what's all in there. I'm actually going to look through this. I'm going to take it off camera and kind of let you know what's in it, because I want to make sure I'm telling you everything we brought. So her ESA letter, the flight information, the airline policy. So definitely this. When I traveled with her as a pet to San Diego, I made sure I printed off Southwest pet policy, so there were just no problems. So I did the same thing with the ESA. I printed off all of the requirements and kept it with me. You kind of want to have hard copies. It's just easier to access. And they also recommended the Department of Travel, their hotline, in case you had any problems, so I wrote that down as well. If I have the pet relief information, her health certificate, vaccine records, microchip information, pictures of Coco, and then the emergency vets in Orlando. Now the thing I want to mention about the health certificate and the vaccine records, Southwest does not require any documentation for a pet flying in cabin. They don't ask for health certificate, and I don't mean they don't ask like they don't check, but they mention it on their website. It is not mentioned on the website. They don't care to see your vaccine records, nothing. The thing I'll say about that, it's a good idea to have it anyway, for two reasons. The first reason is that it is legally required for you to have a health certificate for your pet if you're traveling across state lines. Even if you're just driving in your car, you're supposed to have a health certificate if you're crossing state lines with your pet. The second reason is you don't know what's going to happen at the airport. You don't know if Southwest is going to maybe overbook your flight, or there's going to be a problem with the plane, they have to come back, and you maybe have to be where you're going at a certain time. So you're going to maybe get your refund from Southwest and transfer to a different carrier. The other carrier, like Delta or US, may require all of that information, the health certificate and the vaccine record. So it's a good idea just to have it. All right, so that kind of covers everything I had in my personal item that I could get readily accessible, that was readily accessible in case I needed it. So now I'm going to show you what was in her actual carry-on that went above the overhead storage compartment. Okay, so this is the wheeled carry-on that went overhead. Again, everything in here is for Coco. I checked my bag, and then I had a personal item that had some stuff in it as well. So this one here is the brand Travel Pro, and it worked really well. There's a lot of outside storage, and the inside storage is a really sturdy, well-made suitcase. So I'm going to show you what's in the front outside pockets, and then we'll go into the bag. This first small pocket here is kind of like cleanup items. So we have some baby wipes here, and a small towel, and puppy pads. That's everything that's in that larger outside pocket. Now, in this small one here is where I keep her travel harnesses and leashes. Is the Fastpass leash and collar. So I love this. I've talked about it in other videos. There's no metal in this at all. If you can see that, all of the attachments and everything are all plastic. So this is great with going through TSA checkpoint. You don't have to take it off. You can maintain control of your pet the entire time. Works wonderful. I'll put the link for that down below. The next thing, which is new, is her ESA vest. It just says emotional support on both sides, and it has a little ID. On the other side is our information, so owner information and her name. I think it also says the flight information and where we're going. Alright, so now I'm going to show you inside of the bag. So in this top pocket here, it zips around. I have her top knot pillow. This is just from the dollar spot at Target. And then we have this travel water bottle. Now I was thinking about using this water bottle in cabin, like to give her some water throughout the flight, but it ended up working better just asking for a cup of ice from the flight attendant. But what we did use this for is for when we had to take her with us in the car. We're just driving around, going to parks and things like that. Worked out great. I really recommend this over a bowl for a small dog, just because you can fill it, put it in the car, and put it in the cup holder and it won't spill. Instead of like a bowl, you're worried about spilling. Now going inside the bag. So the first thing you're going to see here is a carrier. I think I've talked about this carrier before. It's fabulous. I've had it for years. However, I don't know what brand it is. So I'm sorry. But what's great about this is that it can fold completely flat and fit inside the suitcase. Now, ESAs are not required to be in a carrier for the flight. However, they're not service animals, so they do need to be in a carrier for the shuttle. So you park long-term parking, you catch the shuttle to the airport, and then you go through TSA. So I needed it for the shuttle. So I wanted something I could put her in and then pack this away right away when we got in the terminal. So that's what this was for. Really great bag. It has the tether, pockets on the inside, pockets on the outside, folds flat. Really recommend that. Now, if you are flying with a pet in cabin that is required to be in a carrier, I will link a video to the bag that I've used before. It's a sturdy bag, large, and worked great for in cabin under the seat. So now let's look at what else we have. Alright, so the first thing you're going to see here is her water bottle stand. I keep it packed up in the bag because there's several pieces to it, but once we get to where we're going, either the rental or the hotel, we just put this together, and this is what she eats and drinks out of. I will insert a secondary shot of it fully put together so you can see that it's a food bowl and a water bottle stand, but it just packs it really nicely, and this is the one we take with us. Also packed Coco's food. I always pack extra food just in case we were going to be delayed or anything, which is exactly what happened. I'll tell that story at the end of this. It was quite the experience. But I have some chews for her to keep her entertained when we're there. some training treats, and some like outdoor treats. And her also brought grooming treats. I'm going to show you that in a second. And brought her dog walking bag. I've done a video on this. This is my favorite bag. It's amazing. Good material, lots of storage. Also working on clicker training with Coco. That's a lot to say. Clicker training with Coco. And we brought her treat bag, and her clicker is down inside here. So in here, you'll see there are two very large liquids. I did not travel with these in cabin. They were actually in my check bag. But on the way back, we didn't fly, so I kept everything in here from the hotel. Again, I'll tell you that story at the end of the video. We have our ear cleaner, grooming spray, grooming treats, toothpaste, toothbrush, her combs, brush, cotton balls, Q-tips, band scissors, and bands for her top knot. So all that fits in there perfectly. This here is her grooming mat. It's just a memory foam bath mat that I think we got at Marshall's. Just provides a surface for your dog to sit on, make them comfortable while you're trying to groom them. And these pockets, there's one here on this side too, but it looks just like that one. I think it's supposed to be for your shoes, but I use it to put smaller items in. So in this one, so like I have her TSA and her harness on the outside for specifically transportation. When we get to where we're going and actually walk her, she has her standard stuff. So that's just a retractable leash, a standard leash, and her harness. And on this side, I'm just going to take these items out, are her toys that we had on the trip. So just a few toys. Now these squeak. So that's why they did not get put on the plane so she could have them on the plane, because they're loud. So that's it. That is everything that was packed for Coco on this trip. She did really, really well. We had a good time. Now I'm going to tell you why we didn't fly back. So we didn't fly back because air traffic control radar was down on the East Coast on Saturday, the 15th. It was the 15th of August. So there were no flights really going in or out. So they canceled our flight, and we had to wait at the airport for hours to figure out if we were going to get rebooked or get refunded. And then we had to get a rental car and get a hotel and then drive back 13 hours from Florida. So she did, I mean, with all that, the flight, being in a strange place, driving back in a car for 13 hours, she did amazing. So that was the experience with the Florida trip. I'll also link the video of the airport and everything that I had before that as well. Thank you for watching, guys. If you have any questions, always leave them down below. I try to get back to everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye.